Hey everybody, you're watching A Physio Named Jonah. That's this guy. And tonight, I'm a this guy who he's got a thing or two on his mind. Quick heads up, this video is going to be a bit of a different style from my usual because it's not going to be quite as structured or scripted on the way through. I'm coming at you much more off the cuff because I've got some things on my mind and we're just gonna get into it. I'm making this video for a couple of reasons. The first being that another one of my colleagues that I went to school with is leaving the profession to pursue a different career path. Now this on its own is enough to give me some pause and make me consider things, but I'm really wanting to make tonight's video now, right now, because of some of the responses that I saw in relation to them leaving the profession. With that in mind, let's kick things off. I think it's important to lay a couple things down here. Now this is not going to come to a surprise of any of you who have watched my channel before, but I love physiotherapy. I am insanely passionate about what I do. I think it is this incredible blessing in my life that I get to go into work and treat patients. The way that I get to treat patients is something that I identify very personally, very strongly with. I am very much in love with a lot of things that the profession has to offer me, and I love being a part of it. I really, really do. But just because you love something does not mean that you don't want to see it get better, or you can't recognize it for its faults. See the things that maybe it is not doing so well as love the things that do make you really enjoy it. I really want to hammer that last point in about loving the profession but being able to see its faults to a specific kitty cat who follows me on this YouTube channel. Yes, Mr. Anon, I am referring to you. I have seen the comments as I will be putting them onto the screen in some variety, shape, or form around me, around my hands. I am well aware of the issues that the profession has. I know this profession does have its challenges, and we can recognize that and still have a lot of love for this profession. But I also respect it, Mr. Kitty Cat. If you just want to be annoyed for a bit, that's totally fine. There's a really nice sunbeam over in the corner. There's a nice carpet beside it. Maybe just take a bit of time, take a nap, and we can talk about it afterwards. Let's talk about one of the first reasons that I decided to make this video today. Because this profession does have some issues. And this is highlighted by people that are leaving it. Again, another one of my colleagues has chosen to no longer be a practicing physiotherapist. But I get it, let's get specific. What are some of these challenges? A lot of the challenges with being a young physiotherapist come around uncertainty surrounding funding, not really sure how to progress, and not really having any kind of clarity in terms of what progression or growth even looks like. Because our profession is changing, growing, there's really not a lot of direction anywhere that you're looking, especially in the outpatient model. Everybody is kind of doing their own thing, not really moving together in the same way, which leads to a lot of confusion, and this person does it this way, this person does it this way, and wait, this person is making this much money? Well, how come I'm only making this much money? But this person's making that much money? How come this person is making this much money? You charge that, they charge what? It's really confusing, and there's not almost a shred of consistency in this profession. Speaking specifically to young therapists and the reason that they may leave the profession early, it often comes down to volume as well as payment. The model is set up such that young therapists often see a very high volume of patients in order to make up for their low percentage salary or lower hour salary that they are making up. This can lead to a lot of burnout and people not having a lot of positive feelings towards the profession. But I think to leave it there and talk about like it's only young physios who have burnout is incredibly disingenuous, because it's not as if people are only leaving physiotherapy within their first couple years of practice. There are many senior clinicians that I'm well aware of who leave their practice up to a decade in, and it's not because they are still in that early clinician phase. Something else is happening along the way that's causing them to no longer want to be a part of this practice that they've put all of this time, love, resource, and energy into. We're losing people along the way somehow. Again, just to bring it back to some concrete points here, a lot of issues in the physio profession come from a lack of clarity around funding, no consistency in terms of growth, and then a lot of pressure in order to see high volumes of patients to make up for lower wages. Guys, no profession is perfect, right? It can't be. There is no perfect profession, medical field out there, Everything has its issues. Every single field has its warts. I think that the field of physio in particular is in a massive state of growth and change, where it was one thing and it's trying to be a couple of different things at this point, and we're not really sure what direction that we want to take. And with those growing changes, I mean, it makes sense that growing pains are going to happen. But that doesn't mean that we also shouldn't be examining what those growing pains are and trying to learn from those growing pains as we try and get to where we eventually want to go. This next point is where we're going to get a little bit on the spicier side from my end. I'm going to try and bring a little bit more of that heat while recognizing that I have about the heat capacity of Tostitos salsa. Medium, not mild. Medium, but not hot. That's too hot. I mentioned there were two reasons I'm making this video, right? The first one being a colleague leaving the profession and me having some sad feelings towards that, because I have a lot of respect for my colleagues and what they do, and it makes me sad that they want to leave this profession that I love so much. The second being the response to that announcement of leaving from some voices out there that I think brought up an attitude that I would very much like to address within this profession. There were some comments made after this colleague announced that they were leaving the profession, which I think did not exactly seek to internally identify where we can move forward as a profession. It was a little bit more of a puff your chest out and why would you want to leave this thing that's so amazing?
That might be a bit inflammatory.
I told you, Tostitos medium salsa. Physio kind of has this attitude sometimes that the people who left the profession weren't good enough to do the profession, or if they had only done it the way that those other people had done it, well then it would have been so much better. And that's really not a helpful point to start from if we're looking to how we can better this profession. If someone leaves, and the attitude that we have is they left because they did it wrong, and if they had done it right, they would have stayed. We're not really going to seek to cause any change, as opposed to asking questions about why did this person leave? Why are people having this experience that is making them not want to be a part of this profession? What can we learn from this? How can we try and change something moving forwards? Because this profession is larger than just individual people and individual experiences. And if we look at the volume of people that are these incredible professionals who are choosing to no longer want to be practicing physiotherapists, it doesn't take a large stretch of the imagination to come to the conclusion that we might have a teensy bit of a problem. Okay, so basically, if we are passionate about this profession, and if, I hope we are, as I am insanely passionate about this profession, then we really shouldn't be bullish about how great it is now. Instead, we should be trying to focus on how we can make it the absolute best for as many therapists as possible, so that anyone who wants to be a physiotherapist and gets into the profession and is a great professional has a great experience with it. I can't speak for everyone because obviously I can't, how could I? But I don't think that everyone who is leaving the profession of physiotherapy does so because they don't love this profession. In fact, I know people who have chosen to move on and absolutely love what this field stands for. And you can love this profession, but really not have it work for you in a nuts and bolts, finances, professional kind of way. And we have to be examining that because, guys, we're losing good therapists. And I care about this. Like, I love this profession. I think this is an incredible job. It is an incredible thing that I get to do, and it makes me very excited. It's something that I really love and want to share with my patients, but I also want to share it with a field of colleagues who are also having great experience with this, so we can have a network of physiotherapists all working towards a common goal. And if we keep hemorrhaging good therapists because they have a bad experience with this profession, then our network is just going to get that much smaller and that much weaker. Again, I think a profession can be flawed for a lot of reasons, and it doesn't always have to be how someone feels about the patient care or about the actual practice itself. It can also be flawed for just how it interacts with that specific professional in their life and not being a good fit. And we can't expect it to be a good fit for everyone, but we can really try and make it a good fit for as many as possible, especially when we're seeing as many people as we are choosing to leave. Okay, so where do we practically move forward from here? Well, I think one of the first great places to start is having some difficult inward-facing conversations about the profession, within the profession as well as with those outside of it. Where are we seeing areas for improvement? Where can we actually make positive changes? And hey, maybe those people who are choosing to leave could be a great source of information because they had an inside look, got to see all the inner nitty-gritty details, and it just didn't work for them. So maybe that would be a great place to start. I think some key points to look at as well are why are we having so many young physios burn out, and how can we potentially try and avoid this? I think we've made some positive movements in the right direction in terms of most places doing fewer patients per hour and some positive moves in terms of overall scheduling and attitude towards full days. But let's be honest, there's a lot of room for us to go, and I think that's a great place to start as people are getting into their careers. I also think we need to examine why people are choosing to leave this profession to transition into one that's a lateral or maybe lateral vertical shift. What are people deciding that is more appealing about a different profession that is similar in the healthcare field but offers things that ours can't or isn't? It's kind of hard to say at this point. And I think a point that I want to add at the end here of where do we go from here is I think maybe we should support each other a little bit more, maybe, as a profession. When I got into physiotherapy, I was really excited because I was so excited to be a part of this big interconnected network of professionals. And as I've been in it more and more, I feel as though we could do a lot more to support one another as professionals and build each other up as opposed to competing. And I get it. It's a business and there are businesses that are in close proximity and things like that, but guys, we're all working towards a common goal here, and I think I often notice in our discourse there's a lot more of, well, this person did the things that way and that makes them stupid, and this person did things that way, well, and they're completely ridiculous, as opposed to trying to actively build up the profession in general and move us forwards. And maybe that is me as a 27-year-old golden retriever of a human being just wanting us all to get along and move forward, but I also don't think like it's too much to ask. Final thoughts at the end here. Physiotherapy is a profession that I love with all of my heart. I really believe in this profession and what we can offer to patients, and I believe in the potential of this profession and what it can be. But I also think that we need to take a bit of that harsh inward look at where we are just flat falling down as a profession so that we can move forwards more effectively. If we don't do this, we will continue to have these same issues or worse as we move forwards. And as somebody who loves this field, I really don't want that to be our future. Well, there was a lot of energy and emotion in that one, so leave me a comment in the comment section down below. What do you think? What can this profession get better at? What do we do well? Where are we really falling down? Let's have some conversation. I will meet you down in the comment section there. I hope you enjoyed this video, enjoyed either seeing me lose it a little bit or learn something new about the profession that you may not have known, or maybe I addressed something that you had been hoping for. Either way, I really hope you gained something from today's video, and I appreciate you sticking around with me here until the end. But most importantly, as always, move your body, have a laugh today, and I will see you at the next video.